So Lampard has just been sacked. Thought it would be a good idea to do a quick video on my thoughts on it, as it's fresh news, something to do, something to talk about. So yeah, might as well just get straight into it. And my thoughts on whether it's the right call, uh, not really. I don't think it's the right thing to do based on what he's done. I mean, you can say win rate and everything has been as bad as any other Chelsea manager. The form we're on is really bad. I get that completely. Players are out of form, so it doesn't look good. But you look at other managers this season who have been under the cosh quite a bit. Solskjaer himself was close to getting sacked when they didn't qualify to the next round of the Champions League. They went on a bad run in the league. It wasn't looking good. He managed to turn it round. They're now top. They're just beating Liverpool in the FA Cup, so things are looking good for him. Arteta as well was in an even worse state, and we people were talking about them legitimately getting relegated. They were playing that badly, and they've gone on a decent little run now. They look like they found some form. So Arteta managed to turn it around, and there's no reason to suggest that Lampard wouldn't have been able to turn it around, especially if you consider the matches that we actually have lost recently. Tough games. Fair enough. I would have expected a few more points, but Wolves away, Leicester away, Everton away, Arsenal away, City at home. They're tricky fixtures, and over a course of a season, a lot of teams will lose all those games, but they'd be spread out over a season. It's unfortunate for Lampard that they came in the space of 8 games or so, and I think he won the other three. I think it was West Ham, Leeds, and Fulham. So um, bad bad timing for him to have all those games. And yeah, fair enough, we underperformed in them, but our next fixtures are much easier than that. So I think he would have. I think he would have turned it around. We've got teams like Sheffield United and Burnley and Newcastle coming up. So whoever comes in has got, I think, quite an easy job to come in and get a run of games, and then people will think, oh, it was the right thing to do. But I think Lampard could easily have turned it around. But the reason I think he's gone is because when he came in, he was never a long term option. In my opinion, he came in as a transitional manager to see us through that season because we just lost Hazard. We couldn't sign anyone. So it was almost like the top managers wouldn't have been attracted to join Chelsea at that time because of the situation we were in. And he was a club legend. He would never turn it down. So we kind of knew, right, he's not going to say no. Bring him in. And he had a free pass. I don't think anybody expected him to get top four, but he did. FA Cup final as well. So last season was a good season. So fair play to Lampard for that. And I wouldn't be surprised if the board didn't expect him to do that and were just expecting him to fail and could have brought in a manager in summer. But obviously, because he did well, they backed him, gave him the funds to sign all the players that we have. And loads of people have said, oh, spending 200 million, you want instant results sort of thing. People need to remember we spent 200 million, yes, which is a lot, but that's basically 3 transfer windows worth of signings because we couldn't sign anyone the summer before, and we didn't sign anybody in January. So we basically signed enough players for 3 transfer windows, and doing that, they're not all going to click at once. It was never going to happen. I will say though, of the signings, the 2 big ones, probably the 2 biggest ones, Havertz and Werner, have been awful. And they've definitely failed him because Lampard hand-picked them, and I have not been impressed with them at all. Fair enough, Havertz is young, he might still come good, but from what I've seen, awful player. Werner, again, I think if that guy couldn't run, he wouldn't be a professional footballer. I think he's awful. So they've let him down. And the only reason why I can justify Lampard being sacked is he handpicked these players and they've been terrible. So part of being a manager, you have to recruit well. And if you're basing it off those two, he hasn't. And you could say that's a reason for him to lose his job. But at the same time, whatever manager comes in is going to have to work with those players. And the fact that Lampard wanted them for his system, we're now going to have to bring in a manager that suits those sort of players. Otherwise, they're just a waste anyway. Because Havertz himself is he's a system player. The way he plays, he's not going to work in many teams. So whoever comes in, trying to fit him in could prove a challenge. Whether they even try to fit him in or not, or try and offload him in summer, I don't know. So yeah, I'm not really surprised that he's been sacked. Again, Chelsea, we're a ruthless club. We've sacked managers for, smaller things. We had Di Matteo win us the Champions League and got sacked the next season after a few months. Mourinho, our greatest ever manager, has been sacked twice by the club. Ancelotti did the double and got sacked the next season. So yeah, we're a ruthless club, and you can't really fault it because we've stayed on top for so long. I think since Abramovich has come in, I'm pretty sure we've won more trophies in England than any other team. I'll have to double check that because I know City have won quite a few over the past couple of seasons, but I'm sure since he joined, we've won the most. So being ruthless and just sacking managers as soon as they drop a few bad performances, it seems to work. So I can't really argue. And no doubt Lampard's gone. Someone's going to come in and there'll be a honeymoon period where you play really well. We'll probably win a trophy or two. And then in a year or two, they'll be gone as well. It's just the way the club works. So no, I'm not surprised that he's gone. Are there any viable options out there? Tuchel obviously got sacked by PSG recently. I think he's the favourite. I'm not too convinced by him. I mean, he has Mbappe and Neymar in his team. They got to the Champions League final, but don't really know if I'm counting that because it was sort of a fake Champions League with only one game going through to the next round rather than home and away. Did he really get the best out of PSG? I don't think so. They weren't convincing in the league this year. So with Neymar and Mbappe, he wasn't very convincing, I don't think. So I hate to think what he's going to do with Havertz and Werner, but that he's just one name. There's probably a few other possibilities, but yeah, not really much. So probably would have been worth keeping Lampard on until a very good viable option came about. Like I said, I think Lampard could have probably turned it round. So it's a shame that he's gone, especially because he's a club legend, but that's the reality of Chelsea Football Club. You've got people like Arteta and Solskjaer, who I mentioned earlier. 100% if they were in Lampard's position, they managed Chelsea, they would have been gone as well. It's not that Lampard's not good enough. We're just cutthroat. You go on a bad patch, that's it. You're gone. Solskjaer and Arteta both had bad patches this year, and if Chelsea bordering control of their clubs, they would have been gone 100%. Whether or not it's the right thing to do, like for example, if Arteta had gone and they brought in a better manager, it could actually work. It could have worked in their favour. The fact that Arteta's turned it round, is it the best interest of Arsenal that he's still there? Is he good enough? Don't know. So although I'm upset that Lampard's gone because he's a club legend, in the long run, it's probably for the best because he's not a world-class experienced manager. He's not going to be the guy that wins us Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. Maybe in the future, but he's not that guy now. So if we want to win trophies, it does make more sense to have an established manager in. So yeah, I can see both sides as to why he's gone. I would have given him a bit longer, probably to the end of the season. We're still in the Champions League, so that would have been interesting to see how that pans out. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of my brief view on the Lampard sacking. I don't think it discredits him as a manager. I think he'll still get a good job after this, and I still think he'll be a top manager. It's all part of the learning curve. Every manager goes through it. A manager either comes to the end of his contract and leaves, or he gets sacked. There's no other way that manager leaves. So majority of managers do get sacked. It's part of football. So he's been sacked. It's his first sacking. We'll learn a lot about him about how he bounces back from this. So I wish him all the best in the future. Obviously, I'm sure the door will be open in the future. I mean, we've had Mourinho come back, Hiddink managed twice. So it's not beyond the realms that he could come back at a future date when he's a bit more experienced. And I hope he does, to be honest. It'll be good for him to come back and win something with us. It's a shame that he couldn't win the FA Cup last year. That would have been a good, something to look back on, say at least he won the FA Cup. But it is what it is. I'll probably end up making another video once we confirm the new manager and I can speak on that. But for now, that's my view on the Lampard sacking. I'm sure people will disagree and think, oh, he 100% had to go. Or people would think, oh, Chelsea, how can they sack him? But you shouldn't be surprised. We know what Chelsea's like. So, yeah, that's my opinion. So, let me know what you think as well about him. If you like anything that I've said, like my video. I'd appreciate that a lot. And if you haven't already, then subscribe, because I'm going to keep making random videos, giving my opinion and stuff. And also, if you want to do a podcast with me, please let me know and then we can do something. So yeah, that's all for today. Catch you guys in another video. Laters.